Next topic we have is, I know you can't believe it, powers of complex numbers. So the product formula that we just looked at, the z sub 1 times the z sub 2, that can be generalized to any finite number of factors, meaning if you had your z sub 1 times z sub 2 dot 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 times z sub n, okay, with the different r's and thetas, you would just be multiplying. Again, this is how it's generalized. You would just multiply your r's out front, and then again, if we were multiplying them, the cosines, you would just be adding your thetas, and again with the sines, you'd be adding them as well. So if you had the situation where all your r values, your moduli, were the same, and all your thetas, the arguments, were the same, we would get what's called de Moivre's theorem. So again, all of your r's are the same value and your thetas are the same. So if I took that z and raised it to the n, this is what this theorem says. Remember, this is the definition of your z, and you're raising it to the n. It's basically saying, right, you'd have r to the n, and then you'd have cosine n theta plus I sine of n theta. That should make sense because all of your r's are the same. So if like I had, this was a 3, that would be r to the third, and then those thetas, when I add them all up, if they're the same theta, I have 3 of those same angles there. So that should kind of make sense. So one you might look at is something like this, where we ask you to evaluate quantity negative 2 root 3 minus 2i to the 5th. Okay, so we're looking for you to figure out what this is and write it in standard form. So to do this, you got to do some side work first. We first have to figure out, well, what's r? So using our definition of r, a squared plus b squared, it's going to be negative 2 root 3 squared plus negative 2 squared, which is going to be root 12 plus 4, which is 4, root 16. We also have to figure out what our theta is. So theta, another way to think about it, is tan inverse of, let's see, my b over a, so that's negative 2 over negative 2 root 3. All right, so really I'm looking at tan inverse of, just to make this easier on myself, those are going to cancel, and it's going to be root 3 over 3. So that means I'm looking at the family of the pi over 6. I'm going to need to pause and come back and finish this. I'm sorry.